from Motown for sale over there. Our next poet, Jenny Harrison, is someone you have to listen to, not with your ears, but with your eyes, because she's that clear in her images and her metaphors. You're in for a treat. Jenny Harrison.
Thanks, everyone. I just like to be here listening all night, I think. Yeah. Well, here I am anyway. I'm going to read something. Oh. A word's been popping into my mind all night, which is the word dialogue. And I don't know why, but somebody else I've talked to also has felt that there's kind of a nice dialogue going on tonight. It seems like there's a little tapestry here tonight. It's really amazing that you've organised this session. I really appreciate it, being part of it. Anyway, as part of this dialogue thing, I'm going to read two poems, which one is a dialogue with Marina, because it was inspired by her wonderful black hat. She doesn't wear it anymore. The next one is a poem for Judith, but I can't find it, so it'll be sometime later. Okay, poets and hats. The poet I first noticed was a woman wearing a black hat with a white crushed rose scenting the brim. And her words fell like petals, like thorns. And she tied everyone there that night, laced to her trellis, bound with the rope of her rhythm. And then I began to see more of them. The woman in the back to front captain's hat. How the sea thumped around the room that night, ho, boom, and wait. And all of us on the bridge steering with her, all of us pirates and shipwrecks. And I remember it was 12 noon when his batik scarf flung out its colour into the Pacific, and there were drums and bare feet that day. Afterwards, we breathed in the scent of sandalwood. It was on the back of my hand. When I brushed my hair, lying face down on the bed. And the man in the red beret, he showed me how everything can tilt to one side, and I had never seen the moon look quite so rakish. Nor chaos on Palm Sunday, bound so neatly in bowler hat grey. After that reading, I opened a book, and there was Oscar Wilde, smiling. And on the baldness of his soul was a curly-brimmed hat, and in the red lining was Ruskin, Nietzsche, all the heady crowd tipping and doffing from the grave. And I thought then how heavy these announcing hats can be, and how bone-potent the skulls which carry them. About mother-daughter relationships for a few reasons. One is that I've been thinking about why I've been interested in poetry, and I think my mother was a poet, although she never wrote poetry and she never read poetry. She had this little old battered black book which she pasted poems in, and I remember reading this when I was like 5 to 13. And I think she's kind of was a poet. And also my daughter, who's 9 at the moment, she's kind of she likes to be my best friend and my worst enemy. So I'm going to read a few for her. This is called Moth-Eaten. Wherever you look on the pine board shelves, there is a self-help book for each of those fluttering moth cells which thump against your own perfection. Not one saviour, but 100 different portraits on the back flaps, welcoming you into their toothy trap, their pure bluish promise that you too might be whole. Once you have snuffed out that lonely old dying self, that drunken, dull, frightened self, can't you smell the charred lips of that old perfection myth? I say, paint that woman with the long black neuroses. Write a poem for the old man with the red veiny nose who buys his spirits from the corner store. Direct a play for that husband outside his home at 3 a.m. yelling, "Maria, let me in," with parts for all the neighbors on their balcony saying, "Maria, for God's sake, let him in." I say, landscape every pain which rolls my soul when I lose and when I fail. And most of all, give me that mother who bites onto me with mongrel teeth and never lets me go. Because she makes my wings beat for their short time the fastest and the strongest and the most hungrily the furthest. And I want the strength of all my mother's imperfections. Called Winter Portrait for a Daughter, a short one. As the autumn morning holds the trees in its cold frame, red orange tongues burning against winter's breath, so this frosty mirror holds all of this girl child, small and naked, lamplight clinging to cracks and fingers. I don't see a charcoal figure thrust upon linen paper, boundary bird with a fingertip. I see a history, a culture, serrated leaf edges. She can cut a path with this body, define an empty room, close against trespass with the pleated finality of a short silk fan, and 3 months later, burst out green again. This one's called Dressing Up. How dangerous they look in their high silver shoes. 3 icing figures skating upon a fragile cake. My 5-year-old dresses up with her friends, and I see how they have watched their mothers with clues. As they sharpen the milk teeth of their beauty over faded lace dresses, tinfoil crowns, paste diamonds. Together they rehearse a future filled only with the loveliness of dreams. Later, in the photograph, they look bleached by the cheapness of the film and the tawdriness of the taste. Yet who would fail to notice the smell of honeysuckle on a warm day, the blue overhead, the birds? In my oldest scrapbook, there is a small Annie Oakley. Her guns drawn at the camera, she is already tough and troublesome. I have no memory of princesses, no photographs of that. My mother said, "No, you never did like to play with dolls." And sometimes when the sun is high or low, but most often when the sun is not there at all, I imagine that what my mother meant to say was, "Yes, tough one, yes. Press against me and there will be my love to wear low in your hip holster. Yes, yes, tough one, press against me and there will be my original mother's shell which you may smash. Paint over, dress up, make holy your own."